I'm gonna have to fade that out at some point. It's just gonna drop in. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, whenever you're watching this.
Yeah, I feel like I got my Yoda shirt on and I want to tilt the camera down, but then it makes me look weird, so I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, ever since we moved to video, I'm very aware of camera angles and the difference they make.
No. What's up, man? How you doing?
Not much. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good.
Could use a little nap, but I'm good other than that.
Yeah, well, we got a special show.
Mm-hmm.
A special episode of Cinema Royale today. We're having somebody on that we haven't had in a long time. His name is Nick Maley. If you don't know who Nick Maley is, he's a legendary special effects artist, creature effects artist, one of the original designers of Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back. God, he did the movie Life Force. He did Highlander. He did a bunch of stuff, man. The guy's
Life Force is. We didn't ask him. No, we've talked to Nick before, and it was a great conversation. This was years and years ago at this point, but it's a great conversation. But I can't believe we didn't bring up Life Force at that time. If we did, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Matilda May. I mean, we didn't ask him.
Right.
No, we talked to.
You can ask him about Life Force. I'm sure he'd love to talk about it.
Yeah.
And you got to visit his museum. One of the reasons we're having Nick on here, Nick has this fantastic museum, the Yoda Guy movie exhibit out in St. Martin.
Right.
St. Martin twice, got married out there, you know. It's a great place, one of my favorite places in the world. And he has a fantastic museum out there. It's going through some tough times now because of Hurricane Irma a few years ago, which really just wrecked the entire island. Never quite recovered from that. And now they're getting hit hard again by COVID-19. And we want to talk to Nick about some of the stuff he's going through and how people can help him. Because he really needs the help, and he's a great guy. It's a great place. If you've never been there, you need to go and check it out. I've got some of my favorite pictures are taken at that place. He's got some incredible memorabilia there too. It's just amazing stuff. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking all that out. And so we want to have him on here and talk about and get his opinion. I want to get his opinion on stuff that's happening nowadays too. So.
Because I mean, you mentioned something. I don't know if I think you did this right before going on air, but I'm really interested to see what he says. You mentioned bringing up Baby Yoda. This is the guy that originally designed Yoda, and now the whole world is awash with Baby Yoda fans, and that'll be interesting to see what he says about that.
Yeah. So hopefully he doesn't have too many issues coming in here. We're expecting. We're curious about his connection since he is connecting from St. Martin.
Right. I mean, one thing we can jump off now, and we should say several times throughout this, is that one of the reasons that we wanted to have Nick on was to get the word out about what they're going through down there and what we can do to help. They have a Patreon that everybody can check out to help reach out, help out some of the legends in the industry. That's www.patreon.com/FYSF/POSTS.
Yeah. So you guys should leave off the post. Just FYSF will do, I believe.
I thought I was saying that, but
yeah, I know. I put that post on there. That's my fault. But just like the link the URL that John just said, patreon.com/FYSF.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And help him out. I'm sure Nick will talk about it some more when he's able to get on here. But
excuse my distraction. We're still getting used to YouTube streaming and using this platform. Trying to plan ahead, and apparently when we went live, it just wiped out everything we planned ahead. So our links are wrong. So I'm sending up some links to everybody right now.
We always got said, man. It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be normal if we didn't have something abnormal happen.
No, I just wish it wasn't stuff that gave people the pathway to see this. Is the problem.
Right.
But what are you gonna do? That's why we upload it later.
I know. How's your week been otherwise? Good?
Pretty good, yeah. I have been knee-deep in Red Dead Redemption. Wow.
Red Dead Redemption 2? I just bought it.
Yeah, part 2.
I actually just bought it.
Did you buy it before it was free on Game Pass?
It was on sale.
Oh, okay.
It was on sale. I didn't get it on Game Pass because I know I have something. I don't know if I have like the main Game Pass. I don't think I have Game Pass anymore actually. But I did buy it because it was on sale, so it was pretty cheap, like $20 maybe. So I had bought it, and I haven't really started playing it yet. I think I just rescued somebody from the side of a mountain or something. I don't know, but I am not. I'm still trying to figure out the controls. I don't really understand. The controls are weird.
funny you bring that up. Let's talk about something
like
in there
that.
for a second.
Because
This is one of the top games of the year when it came out, and it's an amazing game. But there are some control problems. For instance, if you're walking around,
I don't like the controls.
Well, you hold one button to talk to people, and there's another button that you can press that will quick draw shoot people. So you'll go up to try and talk to the sheriff and see what's going on in the town, see if he has any bounties for you. And if you press the wrong button, you just shoot him in the face, and then the whole town's after you. So that's fun.
Yeah, just hearing back from Nick now. He's having some issues. He might not be able to make it. We're trying it out now. He's switching devices here.
Well,
so we're going to see.
If not, we can always get him on some other time soon, and maybe we get the links out at this time. But I still like to talk about him and what he does, whether he can make it on or not. With the limitations of technology from islands, but the guy is just. I was very surprised last time we talked to him by how much we had to talk about. Honestly, we went for probably I'd say an hour or so. I'd say.
We went for a long time. I wish we still had that. I'm sure if we look, we still have that somewhere. It's probably on. It's probably still on Blog Talk actually, because they have a record of pretty much everything that we did.
Yeah, and for a while I was keeping files of all our old stuff, so I might have it somewhere soon.
Yeah, but there's that old interview too. Two ones that we did, if I remember right. That was a while ago. But yeah, so hopefully Nick can join us, and if not, then we'll definitely reschedule him and see if we can lock down something better for him. But then again, he is contacting us from St. Martin, so who knows how that's going to work out no matter what we do. We'll have to do it, over the phone with him maybe if we end up rescheduling.
Yeah, that's totally something we can do. You guys out there, you'd really love to hear his stories. I'll be honest with you. Number one, you'd love to hear his stories. Number two, we really just want to get the word out to make sure we can get him the help he needs and bring some awareness down there.
Absolutely. So in the meantime, until he's able to get through to us, or until we hear something one way or another with him, this has been an insane week.
Yeah.
As somebody who marinates in the news all week, and pretty much every day.
It seems anything's possible in Hollywood.
Something happened this week that was never supposed to happen, and I sure enough have spent the last 2.5 years saying it was never going to happen. And it ended up freaking happening.
Yeah.
And that is the freaking Snyder Cut.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And they freaking did it. And I don't know if Warner Brothers has realized the can of worms they've opened, but they've opened a can of worms.
Pandora's box even.
But yeah, so basically, just to short form the story here a little bit about the Snyder Cut. Everybody knows that the version of Justice League that we got in theaters was not Zack Snyder's original vision.
Mm-hmm.
He left the production early because a tragedy in his family, and he left. Makes all the sense in the world.
Right.
Joss Whedon came in to finish the movie, but he didn't just he didn't do what Zack Snyder was doing. He basically rewrote a bunch of stuff, changed a lot of it. It's like this weird amalgamation of Whedon and Snyder, and it doesn't work.
No,
it's a bad movie. It's a bad movie, and it's one of the biggest flops of all time.
Yeah.
Of course it made some money,
mm-hmm.
but that's not the point. It's Justice League. It should have made twice as much as it should have made.
It should have been up there with Endgame. When you think about it, if you think 20 years ago, because let's be honest, until Iron Man came out, Marvel was not something that you would think. I'm not even just talking about comic book movies, but you could have a profitable comic book movie, but Marvel was not in the top tier. Even their big hits, people didn't associate them with Marvel characters. Like X-Men are almost their own brand. They weren't like Marvel's X-Men and Blade. Nobody, the average fan didn't know what brand he went with. Everybody knew DC Comics. Though.
Nobody was thinking of Blade as a Marvel character.
Right, and DC Comics, you knew Superman and Batman were DC Comics characters. You knew who they were. So for Justice League to finally come out after all this time and be what it was just crazy.
Yeah. So Yeah, I'm hearing back from Nick here. So let's see what he has to say real fast. Continue on. He meant to write this one off. Okay, yeah. We'll just reschedule. Okay, hold on 1 second.
This is live broadcasting, folks. Thanks for rolling with punches with us. But while Travis is sorting that out, I mean, you mentioned the Pandora's box, and it's really not even the start of what we're able to see. It's not so much, this decision is the flint that lights the fire, but how far that fire gets is based on what they're going to do next, almost immediately after after the Snyder Cut was announced with HBO Max to come out next year. Literally the next day, if not even that same day, people started saying things about David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You're exactly right. So getting back, so Nick is out. He's unable to connect. Internet is, like I told you before the show, internet is super spotty out there in St. Martin. So we'll try to reschedule with him and maybe do something over the phone with him, which would be easier because we've connected with him before, and I think we did it over the phone. So,
yeah. Honestly, I'm going to take the bullet on this one because I didn't put two and two together that we're having one talk about a hurricane ravaged island that he's still on, and let's use the internet. That's a good idea.
No. It's something neither one of us considered. So it's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll have him on. We'll have him on in a different way, soon. So maybe next week or whenever he's got time.
Right. Thankfully, there's plenty of stuff to talk about.
And we'll post his Patreon info on the Punch Drunk Critics and the Cinema Royale social media. Anyway, all right. So let's keep talking about Justice League here. So it's like I was saying, the movie that came out was this weird thing, a mismatch of Whedon and Snyder, and the movie was a disaster.
Right.
And since it came out and it failed so badly, we've seen the DCEU go in a completely different direction away from Snyder and find success. But his fans and Snyder himself, because Snyder has spent the last 2.5 years teasing all this crap that he was going to put in the movie, which is what got people really excited to see his version, which was originally supposed to be a two-parter. It was going to have all these different characters in it: Green Lantern, Darkseid, Adam, all these characters are going to be in it. It's just wild stuff. Just a completely different movie than the one that we got. Just totally different. In fact, it sounds like too much. Right. Even for two movies, much less one. I'll get to that later. But he, this release to Snyder Cut became a movement, like a serious movement. Petitions, polls. I went to Comic-Con and they had rented out space. They had billboards and flyovers and all sorts of crap. Just released the Snyder Cut. A lot of the cast has been like, released the Snyder Cut. Everybody's been wanting it, and and the movie's unfinished. The movie was unfinished, so it seemed unlikely to be.
It's a little bit more than released. It's finished the Snyder Cut and released.
Right. It's like it's not done, so it's like I no reason why Warner Bros. Would ever do it, much less throw money at it. I've always said that if you're going to do a version of the Snyder Cut, they should just take his script and turn it into like a pair of animated movies.
Right.
That's what made sense to me, because you wouldn't have to throw a lot of additional money at it, and he could do basically anything he wants with it.
That right there is exactly the lesson that would have been gleaned from all this, because animation doesn't, it costs you plenty of money, but it's not like this. And, is it the same as having a live action movie? No, but there is so much cool things, think about it, Colin Trevorrow's Star Wars script. See that animated. You can get on the line of all these things that we never saw that, it could start a fire that starts all these animated unseen versions of things that would be awesome.
So basically Warner Brothers has, and maybe this has something to do with the coronavirus. Now everything's been shut down and there's just not a lot of content out there, especially for all these streaming services that are popping up. So Warner Brothers has agreed to give Snyder an additional $20 to $30 million to finish up post-production on his version, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and put it out for HBO Max, their streaming service, sometime next year.
Right.
And it's just, it's extraordinary that they're willing to do this. Now we've heard talk that it could be divided up into chapters because it's like a 4-hour cut or something like that. So it could be divided up into 6 chapters or whatever they decide to do. I don't know, but it's crazy that they're willing to go this route and give fans this much power because, like you said, immediately the next day people were calling for the David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad. Because the version of that movie that we got in theaters was not the version that he originally wrote.
Right.
It was, or at least it was not the version he originally wanted. Now, the difference between that and Justice League is Suicide Squad was finished. It was just in the editing booth where basically others took over,
right,
and chopped up what he wanted to do. But it's not his version of Suicide Squad that we got, and he's always said that. So now you got people crying for that. And there are people wanting Paul Feig's 3.5-hour cut of Ghostbusters now, and it's like, when's it going to stop now? And now people are going to keep asking for all these different directors' cuts of things that probably don't need to happen. I'm fairly certain. As much as I want to see Snyder's cut of Justice League, I'm fairly certain that movie's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, and here's
it's going to be terrible, right?
Here's the cold hard truth for a lot of this stuff. I'm like any other movie geek. I love deleted scenes and featurettes and all that stuff. But 8 times out of 10, I'll give it 8 out of 10 instead of 9. 8 times out of 10, the stuff's cut for a reason. The changes are made for a reason. This might be the exception to that. Maybe,
this is different because it's a totally different filmmaker who came in.
Yeah.
And totally changes. So this is different.
Yeah.
But Snyder has spent, like I said, 2.5, 3 years, like almost every other week, showing us something new that he intended to put in a movie. It's like 10 movies worth of stuff.
Well, and also Snyder was not the Russo brothers prior to this. I mean, what happened that took him away from Justice League was a horrible tragedy. But prior to this, people weren't very happy with him to start with. So I never really understood why everybody thought this Snyder cut was going to be. I mean, I always liked Zack Snyder. I have a real appreciation for visual filmmakers, even down to the Michael Bays with their overly dramatic jet shots. But people were not happy with him before. Yeah. That being said, this could be the one time that he was about to turn the corner and make everything make sense, and it's going to be amazing. But that's not going to be the case for every one of these. People are already going back 20, 30 years in the catalog. Where's the original Doom? Prior to this happened one time, and one time it worked out. Richard Donner's Superman. That's the only time something like this was better than the source material.
Sadly, we could have talked to Nick about that because he worked on that Superman.
Yeah, well, we'll put that down on the list.
I know. That's okay. But
real quick, I just want to apologize to any of our. I forget what the door's called. I keep drinking coffee and getting them on camera and microphone. I just really hate that, so I will stop now. Go ahead.
Are you kidding me? Somebody might ask you what brand of coffee we could use as a sponsor.
Yeah, right.
Next time, show the label or something like.
Yeah.
But no, this is crazy that they're going down this route and that they're doing this. And but at the same time, I'm excited to see what happens with it. I'm excited. Yeah. I want to see the movie, and I want this to put everything to bed. Like I want this to put it to bed. Now the thing is, I am a Snyder fan, and I will consider myself somewhat of an apologist for him. Mm-hmm. I'm like you. I have appreciation for visual filmmakers too, and I think he is a great visual filmmaker.
Right.
But the thing is, he's sort of a one-note filmmaker.
I can't argue with that, really. No.
Yeah, he's a one-note filmmaker, which is why he is a fight scene in Man of Steel, which is as much as I like that movie, and I still think it's among the best of the DCEU. Mm-hmm. And it was still a great launching pad for that cinematic universe if they hadn't messed it up. The action sequences are repetitive. Mm-hmm. The action sequences in Sucker Punch are repetitive.
Yeah.
And and that's just sort of, he's not, he doesn't come up with new stuff. Like his one trick is really good. Like he's really, he does epic scale really great. But he doesn't have another gear.
Yeah, he's basically been doing reskinned versions of 300 since 2005. I mean, and that's a little harsh to say, but I mean that he does that slow-mo, spin-around, sepia-tone shooting exceptionally well. And for the most part, if you do something right, keep doing it, but you got to pepper in other stuff there. You got to kind of expand yourself. And he's capable of doing that. Dawn of the Dead wasn't like that. He's capable of changing what he was, but I think he got so much success so quickly out of 300. He's like, why would I change anything? Look how amazing that went.
We should do a Zack Snyder film festival somewhere.
He does have a good catalog. I mean, for all the shit he takes, he has a good catalog.
We could do Snyder Fest, and if we did a Snyder Fest, he would come.
Yeah. Well, I know our good buddy Drew Crowder is listening to this right now, and he's got that awesome spot. Hashtag studios over in Chantilly.
Snyder Fest. We could do Dawn of the Dead 300, Dawn of the Dead 300, Man of Steel, and Legend of the Guardians.
Oh, the Guardians of the Who, right?
Yep.
That was you know what? That's an underrated. I watched that.
I think that's actually his best movie.
It might be. That might be one of the most underrated animated movies of all time.
Which is another reason why I thought that doing the Snyder Cut animated style would have been great for him.
That's true.
Because he's already proven that he can direct an animated movie and do it well. That movie was Star Wars with owls.
Yeah, it really
and it worked. Yeah. And it worked really well. He could have done it. He could have done an animation and turned Justice League into an animated movie. Mm-hmm. I'd have been happy with it. Now, at the same time, I actually hope that this, because Henry Cavill still has a good relationship with Warner Brothers. There's rumors about a new Man of Steel movie. I would be happy if Zack Snyder came back and directed it.
Yeah.
I'd be happy if he did it. I'm happy with Zack Snyder still being part of the DCEU. I just don't want him to be the guy running the DCEU, which is what he was. He's not that guy.
He's not Kevin Feige.
He's not Kevin Feige. Yeah. He's not that person. He doesn't need to be that person. But if he has his own thing off on the side, I'm perfectly fine with that. And I'd love to see him come back and do Man of Steel 2 now that they're talking about it again. It seems like Cavill likes him a lot. It seems like everybody who works with him likes him a lot. So I'd love to see that happen.
I mean, everything about the guy just screams like frat bro, but not the dickhead date raping frat bro, like the one that's actually kind of cool.
He's not Brett Ratner.
Well, yeah, he's that one. But Zack Snyder seems like the more cool one, laid back, nice guy.
I think Zack Snyder's a good guy.
Yeah.
A fanboy and a good guy. He's not Brett Ratner, who's a frat boy douche.
Yeah.
He's not that guy. But I'd love to see him come back and do Man of Steel 2 or do something else in the DCU and not be done with them.
Well, the other thing about all this is, I mentioned before that it's funny to me that everybody wants the Snyder Cut when they were criticizing for so long, but I always felt like Man of Steel and Zack Snyder, specifically on Man of Steel, got a raw deal with that. Henry Cavill is without a doubt in my mind the best Superman we've seen. I mean, at least visually.
He's a very handsome man.
He's a dreamy fella, yeah. But I mean, he's very good at that. He's able to show like a vulnerability and a caring in his eyes and things that a lot of the other folks couldn't do. And everything about Man of Steel to me was misunderstood. Like, yes, he destroyed his city. It was his first day on the job. He's learning. Yes, he killed Zod, but that was showing he's making a choice between his people and the humans.
Right.
It's not that doesn't make. So I thought, without going down that road, I thought that movie was very misunderstood. So I like to see everybody come back, and if this leads to another Man of Steel with Henry Cavill on the road, I'm all for it.
People took Man of Steel as like, that's not what Superman would do. It's like, well, this isn't the Superman from 50 years of DC Comics.
Right.
It's not the same one. If you need to look at it as a Superman, like an Elseworld Superman story, then look at it that way. Yeah. Everybody's accepting of them because DC does that kind of crap all the time. They do Elseworld stories of, Superman or Batman. What if Superman did this, or the Superman with this kind of twist on him?
Right.
This is just no different than that. It's a different version of Superman. Well, and he's not even really that different of a version of Superman either. No. It's an inexperienced Superman. Right. It's a Superman who does not have years of learning what's right and what's wrong. Like, he's just figuring out for himself. He's figuring it out.
Or even how powerful he is. Maybe he doesn't know that if you punch this guy, he's going to knock down 4 buildings. But, I mean, the other thing is this isn't anything new for DC movies. If I remember correctly, Batman in 1989, Tim Burton, everybody loves so much, dropped Joker off the building. Batman don't do that.
I mean, Batman's gone through more changes than just about anybody. Batman was not always this grim and dark character that he's been since basically since around the late 70s to 80s when he turned dark. I mean, the reason why that Batman in the 60s is campy is because Batman was pretty much a upbeat character up until that point. So
he didn't start out dark. I always thought he started out dark and then he went campy and then he came back around. But I don't really know.
I mean, sort of, but for years he was a kind of more of a, a lighter character. Right. So, and now the darkness has really just stuck, and now it's hard to imagine Batman being any other way. And honestly, I'm perfectly fine with him being that way. It's just, characters undergo changes, and it's just the way it is. But so I'd be happy if Snyder stuck around for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just we're not going to see the end of this now. We're not going to see the end of this now. Fans have been given too much power now by Warner Brothers, and they're going to come to regret this, I think, at some point. And I know they're doing this because they really need content, and this is a really big thing for HBO Max to get something like this.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm kind of wondering, who's the one who's really demanding this? It's like that little niche of people who are really demanding it,
right?
And they'll probably see it, and then I doubt anybody else cares.
Yeah, I mean, it's again the snake on a plane effect that happens. I mean, I think in this case, this will be a huge thing for HBO Max. I think a lot of people will care about it, but this again is a one-time thing. I don't think it's going to apply to anything else, and it's always dangerous to let the fans feel like they have anything, because bottom line, and I heard Mark Bernard, and I was listening to his podcast earlier this week, and he said it better than anybody I could think of. The fans never know what they want. If the fans got the way they wanted, the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones would have never happened. Nobody wanted to see all those people die, but you needed it to tell the story. And that's true with most of the stuff. If we got what we wanted, nothing would be very good. That's why everybody.
Nothing. If fans always got what they wanted, nothing would ever change.
Oh, that's true too.
Nothing would ever happen because fans always want their characters to stay the same, stay as they know them.
Yeah, they don't want the characters; they want the nostalgia that comes with it.
Right. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to see anything happen to their characters. Nobody wants to see anything truly change, which is interesting because fans are always the ones who act like they want change.
Right.
They don't really want it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really want it. They don't. They don't really want it because every time they get it, they complain.
Mm-hmm.
And this is someone who is a fan of just about everything, and it's just why there's controversy when The Last Jedi does something different than we're used to in Star Wars.
Right.
It's why people complain when The Walking Dead veers away from the comic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why people complain the Game of Thrones, the TV show isn't exactly like it is in the books.
Right.
Well, I mean, things can't always be that way.
Yeah.
Things change.
Well,
things have to change.
In fairness, that last part they do. I can't argue for Game of Thrones season 8. Real quick, if you're just joining us, we had Nick Malley scheduled for today. He's down in St. Martin, and having internet connection down there can be a little tricky. But if you look at the bottom of your screen there, I just put up a text link for the Patreon that you guys can go to help support Nick and St. Martin to help out the damage that's been affected down there after Hurricane Irma. So check it out, get in there, and help the man out. He did plenty for us. So that's Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah. Terrible Pandora's box.
Did you see?
Wait, you broke up. What was that?
Did you see?
Dude, I think you're having the internet issues too.
Oh,
man.
Can you see me now?
I can hear you now. Now you moved. Okay, we're good.
It's because I was looking at a different screen.
Oh, okay.
Did you see any movies this week?
Any movies this week? What is this week? Well, what came out that I can talk about? I don't know what release dates are anymore. I did see a movie called Villain. That was pretty good.
Yeah, was that this week? Was that due this week?
It was. I just got a chance to watch it last night, so I'll be writing that after the show. So you guys can look for that review on punchdrunkcrates.com.
It's the action flick, right? With Craig Fairbrass or something?
Yeah, it feels kind of like it wants to kind of be a Guy Ritchie movie. Which, by the way, I'm going to review this movie by talking about another movie. I just rewatched The Gentleman with Angela, not this week, the last weekend. I think that may be my favorite Guy Ritchie movie now.
Still haven't seen it.
It's so good. It's so good.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I still need to watch it. It's still on my list.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam is as Guy Ritchie's new go-to guy. Apparently, I couldn't be happy about that.
Maybe that's something I'll do today. Is watch The Gentleman. I feel like I've been waiting around on that.
I think if you're a fan of the Guy Ritchie dialogue, like that rapid-paced machine gun, I'm not quite sure what they're saying versus dialogue. This is his best example of that.
I'm definitely a fan. Yeah. So I've been putting it off for a while just because there's been a lot of stuff going on. But it's actually really quiet. It's been quiet this week. I only had a couple movies that I saw. I saw Military Wives, which is not really my thing. Yeah. I mean, it's not my thing, but I love Kristen Scott Thomas, who's in it, so I'm a big fan of her. People always forget one of her breakout roles is in Under the Cherry Moon with Prince. But anyway, I saw that and that was okay. It's kind of it's one of those British comedies about people kind of like singing through their problems and things like that. You know, it's about a group of military wives who form a choir while their husbands are away, you know, in battle. So
they form an MLM and start selling stuff.
It's perfectly fine, but it's in the tradition of movies like The Full Monty and Brassed Off and stuff like that. You know, it's in that tradition. So if you're into that, you'll probably like it. I don't think it competes with those. In fact, my favorite of those kinds of movies is Calendar Girls. If you remember that one, like Helen Mirren.
Oh yeah. See, I
amongst those.
With do you remember in the early '90s? This was one. We always talk about our stay home from school movies. This is one of those. Yeah. Jason Priestley was in a movie called Calendar Girl where they went to LA to find Marilyn Monroe. I haven't seen that in 20 years. I desperately want to see it again.
I remember that.
But yeah,
you desperately want to see it again.
I do. Because I know it's probably horrible, but I need to see it again to remember why.
And then I saw the Lovebirds with Camille Nanjiani and Issa Rae, which is it's very, very funny. It's almost exactly like Date Night with Tina Fey and Steve Carell.
Okay.
Only
not what I was expecting. Okay.
Well, I mean the plots are almost exactly the same. The couple that goes out for a date and basically they get swept up in a murder mystery, which is basically the same thing.
The only difference is wrong. I did not think that's what the movie was about.
Yeah, that's exactly what the movie is. The only difference is these two aren't married. They're actually just breaking up. So they're kind of being forced to stick together because of this. And also, of course, there's the whole cultural aspect to it that's vastly different.
Rather than
two lily white people, it's not. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's very funny, but it's also very formulaic as well. But it's got some really funny stuff in there. It's got some eyes wide shut satire that's in there. Yeah, and those two, they had this great chemistry together. Not necessarily romantic chemistry, but like their humor is very similar. Very similar. Very self-deprecating, kind of dry. They're really cutting wit. So they're really good together when they're like exchanging with one another. So
now,
that's if I have to review like the recommended movie for the week, it's that.
Well, yeah, and this is one of the first ones went back when all this COVID stuff started that was changed from a theatrical to a streaming release. Now, was this shot before? I didn't get a good look at Kamal in this, but is this before or after the Eternals takeover? Because I'm seriously wondering.
I'm pretty sure this is before.
Because I always find it super interesting when people make make their bang off self-deprecatism. That's not a word. It's self-deprecatism.
I certainly know.
Self-deprecating humor, and then they turn into the alpha male like Chris Pratt, for instance. So it'll be interesting to see how he brings that around.
Yeah. So yes, that's probably the best movie I saw this week. And then I don't think I have any next week, which is really weird. I was looking at my schedule and I was like, shit, I don't think I have anything on the 29th. And I was looking like, did I move something up just like for the embargo on my calendar? And I was like, no, these aren't for me. These are for other people at Punch Drunk Critics. It's like, I don't think I have anything. So I'm like, I'm like, should I like, do I want to do the looking around? Because I know if I look around, I will find something that I could review.
Well,
if I look around, if I look around, I'll find something. I'll look at what's coming up on Netflix and be like, well, I could review that.
Yeah, we've
on Prime. I could review that.
We've covered a few times that the volume hasn't gone down, but the quality, if you are looking that hard, has gone down. Let's see. So over the next week, the movies coming out on VOD are Girls Just Want to Have Blood, Funny Pains.
I think I have the You know what? I think I have The Vast of Night next week.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Vast of Night, Amazon.
Yeah, is that on the 29th?
Yes, that's on the 29th. Yep.
Well, damn, there you go. Well, I do have something to do next week.
Yeah.
But it's only one, which ain't bad. So,
you know, I gotta see for myself or for our buddy Ron that's a member of Punch Drunk Critics with us. There's some movie coming out called For We Are Many. That's a horror anthology that I'm hearing about. I'm gonna have to see if I can get something on that.
He just watched something on Shudder last night called Blood Machines or something that I've been hearing a lot about.
You did or he did?
He did,
oh.
And I want to ask him about it because he was writing something about it, and it sounded interesting.
Shudder.
I need to tell him like when you watch stuff like that, and then you go and you write a long ass post about it, you could have just did a review on it, you asshole.
Yeah, call it a hot take and throw it on there.
I know, Jesus Christ, but anyway.
Once I finish it, I've been watching this. My brother turned me on to this documentary series called In Search Of, and not the Leonard Nimoy one from the 70s, but it's a Kickstarter documentary series, I guess you can call it, because they did one on, I think, action films. They did one on horror films that I'm looking now, In Search of Darkness, and they're doing one on sci-fi films coming up. But it's a 4-hour-long 80s slasher/horror movie documentary that I've been watching in like chapters over the last week. So it's really good, but you really got to be a genre fan to watch it.
Yeah. I'm still trying to finish up The Great with Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to finish that up.
I saw some screenshots from that. I like the screenshots. That's all I'm saying.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It's very much in the mold of The Favorite, which makes sense because it's written by the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm digging that. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. I keep putting off Ozark, but I think I'm going to go from this to the Umbrella Academy because I never watched it. I never watched it.
Oh, it's so good. I don't know how to
never watched it. And now they put out this week they put out that trailer for season 2 or that promo video announcing season 2, which was really funny.
That's the moment a lot of people got hooked on the show in the first season. I think we're alone now, and they're all dancing in the mansion.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that was a great scene from season 1. So I went back and I watched that scene from season 1. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah.
So I want to watch it. So I may just move on to that, and Ozark will just get shuffled down the line a little bit further.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep putting stuff ahead of it because my next thing after that is I want to watch Orphan Black if I can find it.
And then there's always shows like that.
I don't know if it's available anywhere, but I need to look and see.
I'm pretty sure. And this is a shameless plug for a place that doesn't give us a cent, but the easiest way to find if you think of something, there's a app called Just Watch. Ooh, well, that doesn't work. How about that?
Just hold it back. Hold it back. There you go. But now it's too far. You got to be like right in the sweet spot.
Just Watch is the name of the app. So just if you look on the Android or iOS App Store, Just Watch is a great app I use all the time. It's like IMDb, but it also tells you what streaming services things are playing on. So, I mean, let me help you out with Orphan Black now. But it's funny you say something about Ozark because I had a buddy that was watching it, and he was like, "Oh, it's so good." And I remember wanting to watch it, and then I started watching. I got an episode and a half into it, and then I had to go somewhere, and there's another one of those movies I just never came back to. Orphan Black, all 5 seasons are available for free on Prime. So
Amazon Prime?
Streaming. Yep.
Sweet.
Prime Video.
Sweet.
Do you understand what's going on in Tenet?
Do you understand what's going on with it? Like what the
what's
story is? What's
going to happen in Christopher Nolan's Tenet? Yeah, I think I'm more confused after the last trailer.
No. Well, okay. Well, that's weird that you would say that because the title of your post about it was.
I didn't say I understand anything. It said more light is shed. Which more light is shed, I still don't understand anything. That's how confusing it was in the start.
That's like the opposite of what shedding light means.
No, I didn't say it. It sheds the light.
You should have said things. You should have titled it Tenet gets murkier with the release of a new trailer or something. I don't know, but
it's a weird dichotomy. You understand now. They even try to explain it like, oh yeah, no, we're not time traveling. We're reverting time. But then you're like, oh, well, I get it. Wait, what? And then you don't understand even more because what the hell is a reverting time mean? Isn't that just
the movie's not gonna. It's not gonna make sense. Look, it's probably not gonna make sense when you see it in the movie either.
No.
I know. I still don't think Inception makes complete sense, but.
No, I've always thought Inception was always my go-to movie for people that tried to use confusing movies to seem smart. Like, if anybody tells you they know exactly what Inception's about, they're lying and they're trying to sound smart.
I don't think people know what that movie's about. So, I think this will be the same way. But we'll see. It's up to Christopher Nolan to wrap it up in a way that does make sense to people.
Right.
But he has a habit of doing these things because, look, even if you go back to, like, The Prestige. Like, The Prestige had one of those endings, too, where it was like, what? So, I mean... Like, this is something that he does.
What? You know.
This is something that he does. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, maybe it makes sense in his head, but it doesn't always make sense to your average person.
Right.
But he does make those kinds of moves where people like to... pump themselves up. Look, everybody's got a take, and I'm fine with that. People having their own idea of what a movie is trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
But until I hear Nolan say this is what the movie was supposed to be saying, then I just look at them all as theories.
Right.
It's kind of like when I watch Westworld, and people always have their ideas of what the show is, and I'm like, okay, that's great. I mean, I've heard Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy talk about the show plenty of times, especially at Comic-Con. And they've never said that's what the show is, and they don't seem to really know what the show is themselves. Mm-hmm. So when you tell me what the show is, I just take it as a theory.
Let's be honest.
Everything's a theory until the filmmaker says this is what I was doing.
And that's the reason most of us fans is so we can bound about our theories and make more out of it than what it is, and that's fine. That's awesome.
People. A lot of people in our field in particular make their career just by coming up with theories.
By bullshitting, let's call it this.
Yeah, they come up with theories and they post them on Twitter, and people love them for it. I don't like doing that shit. I think that stuff's bullshit. But a lot of people like to do that, and that's great. Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
So, we talked about old movies we used to watch when we were home from school just a little bit ago. Yeah. And a remake of one's coming out that's going to have a twist that I don't know how dark this is going to go. The original Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, which is the movie, was pretty dark. I mean, you have an old woman that's dead, and they just party all weekend.
Because they're going to be black.
What's that?
When you say how dark this is going to go, is that because they're black?
You son of a bitch! I knew you were going to go there. As soon as I said it, I was like,
if you knew I was going to go there, why'd you say it?
I mean, after I said it, I was like, that's probably not the best way to word for this.
They remake a movie with black people, and you assume it's going to be dark. I mean, it's just...
it's a movie about killing the babysitter, and you just stuck her in a closet.
It's not about killing the babysitter. They didn't kill the babysitter.
They didn't help, honestly. But
they didn't help, but they didn't kill her.
They didn't tell anybody.
You make it sound like they took a knife to her throat and then ran off and started running around the city.
I mean,
Which I never understood. I don't remember why they didn't just call the police or tell their parents.
So they could party.
What was the reason?
Because their mom would have come home from vacation and they wanted to party and enjoy their summer. So they left the woman rotting in a closet for 3 months.
That's such a horrific reason.
Dark, like I said, in the morbidity sense, not any other sense. Like you try to make it sound like I said. So they're remaking.
Only thing I did was quote you to you.
Yeah, I got.
But yes, they are doing a remake of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, and it's going to have an African American cast, which is interesting. As written by one of the guys who wrote Dear White People, the Dear White People TV series. I don't remember who's directing it. The guy who did Beauty Shop is directing it.
Billy Woodruff.
Yeah, Billy Woodruff. Thank you. So yeah, I know. I don't hold Don't Tell Mommy Babysitter's Dead and the cult classic status that a lot of other people do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they do, honestly. Every time I've watched that movie, I think it's the only thing I ever take from it are that Christina Applegate was super hot back then, like insanely hot back then. Like I was so in love with her in Married with Children, which was my favorite show back then at that time too. So I watched plenty of Christina Applegate.
Right.
That was sort of her breakout role beyond that show.
Yeah.
Was that film. It made her, it made it seem like she was going to be a bigger star than that. And I guess she was, but, this showed that she could do more. Mm-hmm. And that the little girl dressed like Thor. Those are like the only two things. Was it?
Yeah, that's the big thing. Little girl dressed like Thor.
Then I don't even remember that then.
Yeah.
Then I don't even remember that then.
There was a little girl, and there was the typical early '90s stoner skater's brother who's like, yeah, dude. But that's about all I remember. And there was a fashion show in their backyard. I remember that. Because there's always a fashion show in these movies.
I got both those movies completely mixed up. Because I don't really care about either one of them. I don't care about Adventures in Babysitting either, other than the fact that Elizabeth Shue was hot.
Yeah. And
that's it.
And she dropped one of the most badass family movie PG-rated lines in history with "Don't Fuck with the Babysitter,"
yes,
which was super hot. But so that's being redone.
Then I think about it. Back then, that's the only thing I remember about certain movies because, like, I guess the exception is like License to Drive, which I legitimately like. But still, my main takeaway from License to Drive is that Heather Graham was ridiculous.
Wait, License to Drive. That was a
Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
What was the one? It was licensed to something. It was Richard Grieco was in it, and he was like a high schooler that was on class trip to Italy. And
isn't that License to Kill or something?
No, License to Kill was an actual Bond movie. I don't know if find out. I liked that movie too when I was.
Maybe License to Chill or something. I don't know.
It was licensed to something ridiculous. That's what it was.
Yeah. Richard Grieco, Jesus.
Grieco. So what was the other thing that came up that I wanted to talk about? Oh man, I'm totally blanking now. Let's see, I got my notes somewhere. Oh shit. This is us. Ruby Rose, what am I talking about? Ruby, did you watch that one at all?
Oh yeah. I didn't watch a single episode, man.
Me neither. I fell off the CW show. I still love them. I think they're amazing, and I think everybody should watch them. I just, for whatever reason, my wife and I went from watching every episode every week to not seeing a single episode in about 2 years now. But Ruby Rose made headlines.
I haven't watched the Arrowverse I haven't watched anything from the Arrowverse in about 2 or 3 years.
I watched some clips from the crossover this year that showed some of the other universe people. That's it. I haven't seen.
Ever since I moved and I got Hulu, and I just sort of lost track of the Flash and everything, and I couldn't remember. And one of the things that made me kind of stop watching it is because one of the shows I kept up with Arrow and the Flash for a little while after I moved and got Hulu, but I stopped being able to tell if I had seen the episode before.
That's never a good sign.
Right, and because they always start the same way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like Flash starts the same way every week. At least it did back then. And I was like, I can't tell if I've watched this one yet.
Yeah, I mean,
and I was like, Jesus Christ! And then Arrow got so glum, and I think because of its tone, I couldn't tell if I had seen the episode before.
Right.
And because Arrow repeated the same things for him over and over again, like for 8 seasons or whatever. Like he kept going through the same sorts of things with like a tiny twist. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I've seen this one yet. I can't tell.
Yeah,
and eventually I just quit.
The fact that these shows are still so popular and that I still say I love them is a testament to the charm of the cast, the chemistry, and Greg Berlanti's ability to put things together. Because the dead honest truth of a lot of these shows, especially Flash, is that they take the Freak of the Week structure to a whole nother level. It's literally, like you said, the exact same thing, but take out bad ice guy, put in bad fire guy. You know, it's something like that. And I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Barry's going to find a way to run fast and stop it. But that being said, Ruby Rose did something that's kind of blown a lot of people's minds. You know, she made big headlines. This was going to be her huge break after becoming super famous on Orange is the New Black. But she quit after 1 year as Batwoman. And I've heard a couple different things. I've heard that it was just too much pressure and too much work to run, and it is a 24-hour-a-day job to be the headliner of one of these shows. But I also heard things about she hurt her back doing stunts, which if that's the case, I get it. You don't want to ruin your life.
I had heard that she got injured, but I didn't know that she was injured to the point where she was going to quit after a season. I didn't know it was like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. But I know I like Ruby Rose. Like I've always liked Ruby Rose for that reason. Well, I guess the main reason is I think she's sexy. I guess I'm the shallow one this episode, I guess. But I also think she's like a really badass like action star.
She's got a look, man. She's got that screen charisma, that look that really.
Yeah, she's got a look, and I thought she'd be a great fit for Batwoman. Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised by it. But then again, I had not heard one good thing about that show, like season 1. I have not heard much positive. So, but like I said, I've not seen it, so I can't say for myself. I just know from my friends who've watched it or tried to watch it and gave up that they didn't like it. So I don't know. Wow. Maybe it'll end up being a good thing in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they might switch out. I mean, that's the question: is do they just switch her out and act like nothing happened, or do they incorporate some kind of multiverse thing? I
mean, didn't they show Bruce Wayne in like the final episode? Maybe they switched it up and they just call it Batman.
There you go. Finally happened. That'll be great for being progressive in Hollywood. You finally get a female-led action show, and you just like one season. No, put the dude in. We're done.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But that's about all I had. What else you got?
That's about the end of the show anyway. We're coming up on 3:00 almost, and Lord knows we don't want to go over the hour. Yeah. After last week. But yeah, so we apologize for the Nick Maley stuff. Nick couldn't. For those who don't know, Nick, special effects guy, worked on Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. He was going to come on the show, and he couldn't make it. Internet connection out in St. Martin is very, 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 very weak. He had issues, and it just didn't work out. We're going to try to reschedule with him and do this again another way, probably over the phone or something like that. Whatever we can do to get him online, because we want to help him out. I think John put the
Make sure to look at the top of your screen up there is Patreon to help him out.
To Nick's Patreon. He's seeking support for his Yoda Guy museum out there in St. Martin, which has been hit hard by Hurricane Irma and by COVID-19. They've just wrecked tourism out in St. Martin. If you know anything about the islands, tourism is like their only thing.
Yeah.
That's all they got is tourism. Without
no oil exports. There's none of that stuff. You come and buy stuff there. That's how they survive. So
if the ships aren't coming in to St. Martin, then there's no business.
Yeah.
So he needs the help, and we want to help him out. So the URL is there. We're going to put it up on the Cinema Royale Facebook page. We'll attach it to our YouTube post as well, and our podcast outlets as well, so people can see it there. And we'll try to have him back on. Nick's a great guy, so if you want to try and help him. As for next week, I don't know what's coming out next week. Like I said, I got nothing. I got Vast of Night, which actually is a movie that a lot of people are interested in. So I'm probably going to talk about it. It's kind of a creepy sort of sci-fi, one of those moody kind of films. So I'm interested in seeing it. So I got that for next week. I don't know when else is coming out, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure there'll be some more Snyder Cut news next week. There's actually word that there might be a trailer soon. So if the trailer comes out, maybe we can try to.
Makes sense. I mean, one thing we didn't, and I'm not going to elongate this at all.
Maybe we can do a trailer watch party of the trailer. We can watch the trailer.
We've been looking to try that out. I'm sure we won't have technical difficulties doing that.
Yeah, I know. Well, we can do a reaction, right? Can we do a reaction on YouTube? Can't we? We can do a reaction.
Yeah, we absolutely can.
Yeah,
So,
let's do a Justice League trailer reaction when it comes out.
and expanding to do stuff is all part of this plan once we get there. So I guess that's all we got. So keep reading punchdrunkcritics.com every day. Check us out here every Sunday at 2 o'clock on YouTube, on punchdrunkcritics.com, where we'll also post this video and all the sites, Spreaker, everywhere else that we put it up later on. What else do we? Oh yeah, you're on Twitter at Punchy Critic, at Punchdrunk John right here. I don't know our stuff that well, so can you
should tweet more. We're on, like you say, we're on Twitter. Punch Drunk Critics site is at PDC Movies. You can also find Punch Drunk Critics on Facebook. You can find Cinema Royales on Facebook as well. And of course, you can find us on YouTube. We also have our own individual pages on YouTube. You can find me on Twitch as well. I will include that in our posts about this as well. Like, I include everything. So you can find us anywhere.
All right. Well,
and I'm starting to stream now, so it's actually worth it to go to my.
Yeah, we worked on those bugs. It's still working well for you guys?
So far, I'm going to mess with it some more today. Actually, I'm trying to debate on what my first long game to stream will be, and I'd recently re-downloaded both Knights of the Old Republics.
Oh, I will watch that because I want to see how other people get into that game. Because I'm the biggest Star Wars fan that never got into those. I just can't do RPGs like that. So I need to see.
So good.
I need to see what other people are doing.
The story in those games are so good, though.
Yeah, that's what kept me hanging off. I just can't stand the combat systems in those. Maybe I should try to do a little Red Dead Redemption stream because it'll be awesome because you guys can see me play and you can hear my wife and kids yelling to stop playing every 2 minutes. So.
Yeah, exactly. You should. And people still watch the Red Dead Redemption stream, so you should definitely do it. I'll watch it. Shit.
Absolutely. All right, so next week, guys, we're out of here.
All right, we're out. Later.
See ya.